Everyone, Zeddy here again with what I promise is the last card review of the day. We have a bunch of rogue cards to go over. Rogue / Demon Hunter, Rogue / Priest, and then Demon Hunter and like I think rogue cards in there as well. And if you want to win any of these cards, we do have a giveaway going on of 3 mini sets out of my pocket. Like, comment to the video description below. Be subscribed to the channel. We're 400 subscribers away from 77K. We hit that, I will add another 4th mini set as long as we hit that by when the mini set comes out next week. Anyways, hit that sub button, make me go broke. So starting off, we have the Rogue / Demon Hunter / Demon Hunter cards. Let's go with that, because there's like 2 dual class and 1 solo class card per reveal going forward. And starting off, we have a dual class weapon for Rogue and Demon Hunter, a 2-mana 1/2 weapon. I would just hero powers a Rogue. Why do I want it? Well, there's more to it than that, because after your hero attacks, draw a card. So 2 mana, draw 2. That's pretty good. Deals 1 damage per swing. If you want, you can possibly buff the durability and shenanigans like that. Just a really solid, good card that I could see seeing play in both Rogue and Demon Hunter. Probably more so Demon Hunter, where the card draw options aren't quite as prolific as Rogue with, well, concoctions are rotating soon, but they have a lot of card draw, a lot of 1-mana card draw in particular, but 2 mana draw 2, deal 2. Like, that's just super solid, and Rogue doesn't really want to dagger that much these days anyways. You play this on 2, you're pretty happy about it. It just seems like a really solid, good card. Cycle 2 for 2. I can't really say anything other than really good card. I will give it a 4 out of 5 in standard, 3 out of 5 in wild. It could pop up even like cycle heavy decks. Like, just that amount of draw, you know, you do have to wait a turn, or you don't get it immediately. You don't have Wind Fury or anything, but still, it's a solid little card draw option. I think it sees consistent play or relative play in both standard, possibly wild, and definitely both classes. Just seems like a really good card. But what if I want to use this weapon for other means? Well, what other means am I talking about? We have one of the coolest cards I just think it's such a cool card. I don't know. I think it's cool. The Shadestone Skulker, a 1-mana 1/1 elemental. So elemental support that. Again, dual class card, Demon Hunter Rogue. It has Rush and Battle Cry. You take your weapon, so whatever weapon you have equipped, and gain its stats. So in the case of this weapon, let's say you've swung once, it's a 1-mana 1, or it's a 2-mana 1/1 weapon. What will happen is this will become a 2/2. It can hit into stuff, and then Death Rattle, you give the weapon back. And basically, I've had it confirmed by the devs, whatever the stats are, the buffs the weapon had, the durability, all that stuff, it will just be re-equipped. You just give it right back. So you could use this to get through like a taunt, right? Like, I've got a 6 damage weapon, they got a 7 health taunt. I play my Shadestone Skulker, it's got 7 attack for 1 mana. It hits in, I get that weapon re-equipped right back, and then I can hit with it, right? It's not like a Doomerang where you just like get the weapon and it resets all the stats. It's like he's just borrowing the weapon and then giving it back. It's not even counted as breaking the weapon. So if it has like a Death Rattle on it, that doesn't proc either. It just simply gives the weapon and takes the weapon. So that's how it'll work. I just think it's like super efficient, like removal, right? If you're playing any weapon-based deck at all, you're playing this card because it's like super cheap, can kill into anything, and you can still swing that turn once it dies. Or like, I mean, you might value trade, I suppose, but typically the stats are going to be very attack heavy, not so much health heavy, right? So I think it's a really sweet, solid card. Kingsbane Rogue in wild probably runs this, right? Like, you're always buffing your Kingsbane and you want to get through a taunt. This is like a really efficient way, and it's like more efficient than Doomerang in a lot of ways. It doesn't synergize quite as well with like leeching poison and healing, but any weapon-based deck, Demon Hunter Rogue, you don't even need that big a weapon for this to be worth it. There aren't really that many weapon-based decks in standard, but it just might be worth it just for how efficient this can be. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 in standard and wild. I just think it's a really solid, efficient removal, and the mechanic's really cool, right? It borrows the weapon, gives it back, And you know Mark is gonna do like some big OTK with like Ash Tongue, trade it in and like kill them with that, right? Like a giant Shadestone into Ash Tongue after it's silenced. You know Mark's gonna do that. So really cool card. I don't remember if I gave it a rating, but 4 to 5 in standard, 4 to 5 in wild. I think it's really solid. And then we also have Fel Fisher, a 4-mana Fel spell. This is just for Demon Hunter, not Rogue. Yeah, it's a new Fel spell. Deal 2 damage to all minions. So not great, right? 4-mana, deal 2. Not good. At the start of your next turn, you deal 2 more damage to all minions. So it's hitting your stuff too. It's very easy to play around. 2 damage breakpoint sucks. It just does. Most things have 3 health. I can only see this going maybe into like Reno Demon Hunter, which sucks. It's not good. And this card just seems bad. I don't know what it's going into. It's just so easy to kind of play around, and I'm not sold on it whatsoever, but maybe some list out there. But I'm going to give this, honestly, I'm giving it a 1 out of 5 in standard and wild. I just don't see this popping up in any real lists. Now moving on to the Rogue Priest cards, we have the Hidden Gem, a 2-mana 2/2 elemental. So many elementals. This minion has stealth, and at the end of your turn, restore 2 health to all friendly characters. This is effectively, as long as it doesn't get AoE'd or you don't attack with it, it's like infinite healing for Rogue and Priest, right? It doesn't lose its stealth. It's not stealth for 1 turn. It's a permanent effect. So you play this, and you could possibly just heal over and over as long as your opponent can't kill it in any way. And I see this, I think I see this mostly as a Priest card. Like, Rogue doesn't have access to healing for the most part, other than like just random crap. And this is something they can actually put in their deck. They don't typically care about healing. They're more about either scamming mana, killing you, all that stuff. Priest, I feel like this could be super good in like overheal, right? Like this could constantly proc overheal effects, whether it's drawing you cards, summoning minions, dealing AoE. It's just a really, I think a really good, yeah, overheal card. It could just be like a control tool just to have a minion on board to heal you up, help you stay alive, because a lot of like, you know, aggro decks and, you know, token decks don't have AoE. So this might just stick around and be a pseudo like heal 2 every single turn you want. So I think this for sure sees play in Priest in some form, whether it be a controlling aspect or an overheal play. In Rogue, I don't know, like maybe the healing is worth it. Like Rogue doesn't have healing, right? That's supposed to be a class weakness for the class. It's not a ton of healing, but 2 every turn. And if you really need to, trade it into something or buff it up, whatever. I'm giving it a 4 to 5 in standard just for Priest alone. But I do think there is a shot this could pop up in Rogue lists, but very little, very little. And in Wild, I'll give it a 3. Like Reno Priest probably runs it. Like there's like Inner Fire decks that might want to use this for whatever reason. I don't know. It could see a little bit of play in Wild, but overall, this card looks pretty darn scary. The other, I just see the card, I get mad. The other card we get is a dual class Priest Rogue card, and it's so annoying. It's probably bad because it's 5 mana, but 5 mana Shadow spell. So for you Shadow Priest enthusiasts, you can play this and you return an enemy minion to your hand, unlike Sap, which was a 2-mana spell that returned an enemy minion to their hand, right? You couldn't sap your own thing to there or whatever. So it's a play on that. You can prep it, make it a bit cheaper in Rogue, but it's so greedy. Like this is definitely a greed card for when I'm, you know, you're playing at the lower ranks against some greed Priest Lord that they're just trying to piss you off. They take your Shutterwalk or something. I don't know. They're Odin. You're a Brandon warrior. Then they can play it and double their battle cries if they're a Reno deck. Really greedy option, probably more of a created by option, but a card that you just know I'm gonna hate. Like it's a greedy Priest card. It's gonna trigger me and steal my good stuff, right? Then they play it and I get mad. So I do think it's very expensive for the effect. It's like a dead card against aggro 100%. And you're only really, you know, want to really steal something that makes sense in your deck, like the Highlander cards I mentioned could work out, or like some just good value minion, but very expensive. I'll give it a 2 out of 5 in standard wild, but definitely a card that's going to irk me one way or the other. And, you know, Svalna, right, discovers infinite shadow spells. This can be one of them, and then get these infinitely and really trigger you, right? So, but usually Drown's a better option in that situation, and Svalna's rotating, I believe, coming up. But anyways, just a card to trigger Zeddy. And then lastly, the one Rogue card of the expansion, just Rogue, Fool's Gold, 1 mana spell, get a random Golden Pirate. and elemental from other classes. So this could be a really like little decent way of like getting your Velorot going, or just really cool in Burgle decks, right? It's not golden in the way of Battlegrounds where I get to like play it and then get a tier something minion. It's just shiny. You get to play with some shiny cards. So that's cool for those free to play players that can't play with the shiny cards so much. And the elementals could be good. The pirates could be good. You never know. There's not a ton of pirates from other classes. Like you're looking mostly at like warrior and things like that, but I believe you never know, right? And the elementals can be, it can be a total mishmash. Is this a ladder card? Probably not. You don't get to discover it. It's purely random, but it's a cool Burgle card for like, you know, your test rogue enjoyers. And I just don't think it goes into competitive lists. I think it's just a fun card that Thief Rogue players will enjoy. So I'll get a 2 out of 5 in Standard Wild. I mean, it's 1 mana, get 2 cards. It's not that bad, but a lot of the times they'll be like expensive, unplayable, not synergistic whatsoever. You don't get mana cheat on them. You just get some shiny with it. So I don't think it'll be competitive. But anyways, that's all the cards revealed today. There's a bunch more tomorrow. Probably going to keep it to 2 videos tomorrow, but I get excited. I want to talk about cards, and it's fun to talk about cards with you guys. So let me know what you guys think about all the cards in the comments down below. We'll see you all tomorrow. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.